So, hello and welcome to this demo session on data science, AI, and machine learning program. But before we dive deeper into today's session, I want to start with a story. Because directly starting into some of these heavy topics is going to bore a lot of you out. So, let us start with an interesting story. If you can see my screen, which I have shared, you can see over here Vinita Singh. For those who don't know, Vinita Singh is a founder of Sugar Cosmetics. She is also an investor in Shark Tank India, and you must have seen her in television and in a lot of press releases and newspaper and whatnot because of her incredible entrepreneurial journey. But today's story is not about Vinita Singh. It is about her father, Dr. Tejpal Singh. Okay, so Dr. Tejpal Singh is over here, Vinita's father. He is a scientist at AIIMS, which is All India Institute of Medical Science. Basically, Dr. Tejpal Singh has worked for over 30 years in this field of medical science, and and he has done this every single day, which is including Sunday. Often going back to his lab after dinner and working throughout the night. And in his long professional journey of 30 years, the man has missed vacations. He has skipped family functions, but he has kept on chasing one single mission. The mission was to solve protein structures. Now, you must be thinking, why are we talking about protein structures in a demo session of AI and machine learning, course? But I'll tell you something, just hear me out for a second. This interp is actually pulled from Vinita Singh's Instagram post, which she posted, I think, 2 or 3 years back. uh, I won't be reading the entire source over here, but I'll just skim through some of the details, okay, about this post. So, in his relentless work, Vinita Singh's father, Dr. Tejpal Singh, has crossed a milestone of discovering more than 600 protein structures. 30 years of efforts, and he has discovered, more than 600 protein structures, which is a completely different league, where only Nobel laureates are, currently positioned at. And think about that: 30 years of absolute focus and irrational passion to advance science that actually saves lives. Now, how does this saves lives? I'll explain you. You know, the image that you see over here is actually an image of a protein structure. Now, what are proteins? Proteins are basically made of long chains of amino acids, and to function properly in the body, these chains must be folded into specific 3D structures. We'll not go in detail about what these 3D structures are, but you have to understand that the folding of this structure determines how we can design specific medicines or drugs to solve like very big heavy hitting diseases like cancer, Alzheimer's, even for that matter of fact COVID. The folding of this protein structure was something of a very significant use. Understanding and studying of these protein structure is very important when we talk about how we are designing medicines to cure these things. And this is one of the most hardest problem in biology. Basically, if someone gets a breakthrough of discovering hundreds or thousands of protein structure, hundreds is 100, in the number of 100 it is actually possible, a lot of people have done it, but in the number of thousands it's something of great achievement, right? And scientists use a lot of traditional methods like X-ray crystallography or cryo-electron microscopy, but however these were very tedious and slow processes, and it took years and years to find these protein structures. Collectively, from I think 1970s till 2019, collectively, scientists have discovered somewhere around 1,50,000 protein structures. Okay, and these protein structures are actually used currently in medical science, in pharmaceuticals, to design accurate cures, for diseases like cancers, a lot of cancers and other things. So this actually explains us why Dr. Tejpal Singh's research was such a great achievement. So for 6 decades, somewhere around 150,000 protein structures were actually discovered by scientists all around the world. But you know what happened after 2020? I'll explain you where AI comes in. After 2020, there was a team of just 15 people who had worked in a AI lab by Google called DeepMind, and they made something called as AlphaFold. This was an AI that discovered more than 20 million protein structures, essentially covering all the protein structures known to man. Just imagine 60 years of human effort took us 150,000 protein structures being discovered. Okay? And within few months, a team of 15 individuals were able to create an AI that helped them discover more than 200 million protein structures. Decades of human efforts were compressed into months through AI, and this breakthrough has accelerated in drug discovery, biotechnology, and medicine at a scale that humanity has never experienced before. If you still are not able to grasp the magnitude of this discovery, I have a very beautiful visual representation, like a visual explanation of what this looks like. Okay, so here is a free online chart maker. I'll explain you how much visually the effect is. So Vinita's father, Dr. Tejpal Singh, had discovered 600 more than 600 protein structures in his entire lifetime, which is like somewhere around 30 years of effort. Globally, it was around 150,000. Okay, so this is cool. 600 discoveries from Vinita's father, 150,000 globally. And AI had discovered 200 million protein structures. Let's put it into numbers. If you can see over screen, this is the magnitude that we are talking about. Vinita's father's contribution looks insignificant in front of AI. Let's put it aside. Let us see. The global repository is also looking minute, absolutely negligible in front of what AI has discovered. And this is 2020. This example actually shows us what is the relevance of AI in today's world. You have to understand how AI is helping humanity ascend to the next level by compressing years of research into months. And this is one of the most incredible achievements done by a team of 15 individuals. And for this, the director of this program has also received a Nobel Prize. So now let's move on to the next section of this demo course. I'll be giving you a brief introduction about myself. Who am I? My name is Ruchit Kharwa. I run a technology company called Wolfex. I'm the CEO, CTO, and founder, and I have more than 10 years of experience in the field of technology. In the course of my 10 years, I have had the absolute privilege of working with various kind of organizations and individuals, and some of our flagship undertaking is with the Indian Navy, and I have also trained a lot of academic students. throughout my course. I come from a background where I have to deal with a lot of leadership making decision, and one of my primary agenda is to create more leaders in the field of technology. So this was about me. I've been working in this industry, creating SaaS products, helping companies and technologies, helping companies onboard technologies, and a lot of things which are related to AI and blockchain. Now, moving forward, I'll give you a gist about what these words mean. Actually, when we talk about data science, machine learning, deep learning, artificial intelligence, we happen to use these terminologies interchangeably, and this is the norm throughout the industries. AI engineers would tell themselves as brand themselves as data scientists, or companies who specialize into machine learning will tell that we provide end-to-end solutions like data science and deep learning, and they feel that everything is one and the same. There is no differentiation between them. So I'll explain you what exactly these terminologies mean. So firstly, we have the bigger picture over here. The data science blob. Now, data science is the broader field which is concerned with extracting of knowledge and insight from data, right? So what do we mean by data science is that, let's say you have huge sets of data, you have multiple databases, you have multiple warehouses, data silos. Every organization has them. Every big large scale organization has this data. But when we perform statistics, mathematical concepts like mathematical modeling, we apply domain expertise to these data, programming. So when we talk about data science, we are talking about large sets of data on which mathematical modeling has been carried out. It's about combining statistics, programming, and domain expertise. So you can think of data science as an umbrella in which we have something called as data collection, data cleaning, data visualization, data analysis, etc. And because data science is like a step one into turning machines into a mathematical model, here is an overlap that has been shown in the diagram, that data science actually overlaps into a lot of different departments of deep learning, machine learning, and artificial intelligence. And this is the traditional thing, because when you talk about artificial intelligence and machine learning and deep learning, these are math models trained over a data set, and for the data set to become something of use, it has to be pre-processed. So this is where the object of data science comes in. Okay, now let's move on to the second part. The second part is called artificial intelligence. Now, the artificial intelligence is the science of making machines mimic human intelligence. There is nothing that I could be explaining you more in a more simpler manner. It's just that making machines mimic like a human is the domain of artificial intelligence. It is about creating systems that can perceive, reason, learn, and act based on how a human does all these things. Okay, so AI can be rule based or learning based. So for example, an early chess program that followed hard coded rule is still considered as an AI. So if let's say we are playing chess with very early primitive level chess engine, then they had all the moves memorized, all the best moves memorized. But now the advanced chess programs that we see today, like Stockfish or Leela, these all advanced engines are much more catered towards making real-time decisions by calculating the best possible move at a given point in time. Okay, so this is about artificial intelligence. Now let's dive deeper into machine learning. Now, machine learning is a subset of AI that focuses on making machines learn from data without giving them any explicitly programming instructions. So there is no if else conditions over here. It's about creating a set of formula or set of math model that allows machine to optimize if a certain data is given to it. So for example, let's say I want to predict what is the best position. Should I buy for should I buy a long call or a short call? This is a financial example. So if you see over here, this is a graph about some stock, right? Now over here, traders have to take a decision whether they buy long, which is if the chart will go up, or short, will the chart go down. Now if you, let's say, make a wrong decision, let's say over here in this area you make a decision for short, what will happen is you will make a lot of losses. Okay, so your optimization technique is going to be depended on what has happened previously. So even before this chart was there, what were the patterns that you had observed, and you basically feed in this data to a math model that will allow you to predict based on what it has learned previously. Okay, one of the other example is the spam filters that you see in your emails, right? So you don't just follow fixed rule, they learn from millions and millions of example of what is spam and what is not a spam. Now let's move in deeper. We move into the deep learning aspect of of this entire Venn diagram. Now, deep learning is a further subset of machine learning. Now, you have to be very mindful. Deep learning can be machine learning. Deep learning can also be artificial intelligence, because they are inside these blobs, right? So you have to be very much mindful about it. So deep learning is a subset of machine learning that uses neural networks with multiple layers. Hence, we call it the word, deep learning. Okay, so in this technology we often see implementations of speech recognition, facial recognition, autonomous driving. These are all called applications of deep learning. Now deep learning thrives when there is massive amount of data and compute power. Okay, now let's move on to the most trending topic, which is generative AI. Now, what do we mean by generative AI? There are two phrases in this word. First is generative, second is AI, artificial intelligence. Now, this is a newer branch of AI that can create new content. It can be text, images, code, even videos. So instead of just analyzing the data like ChatGPT, DALL-E, we have these models like ChatGPT, DALL-E, Stable Diffusion, who not just analyze data, they actually create more data out of the patterns that they have learned earlier. And Gen AI heavily relies on deep learning, especially something called as transformers, which we will be learning in the course. Actual course, we will be learning about the how the transformers work and what is the basic understanding behind that. How does the attention block inside the transformer works? So there was a paper published by Google, which is named as "Attention is All We Need," and this was a breakthrough paper which allowed companies like Claude, ChatGPT, Gemini to come into existence. So because of these ChatGPT, Gemini, and all these DALL-E and Stable Diffusion, AI has now become a buzzword in every industry. But to give you some perspective, AI is not a new topic. AI has been around since 1960s, I believe. There were papers published on AI on how neural perceptrons work, which you can date way back in 1960s, right? So why are these topics getting trendy nowadays is because earlier these papers were just theory. There was no practical implementation of AI. The reason was that there was not enough compute power available back in 1960s. So when you see these papers about neural perceptrons and all these old papers, you will see that humans have always tried to make machine mimic human behavior. That has always been the case. But the only point that we were getting stuck earlier was because we did not had enough compute. But now, because we have GPUs, we have advanced CPUs, we have more memory available, making these models had become practically viable. So if I have to explain you the entire AI phenomenon, I would simply say that AI is a black box. You input data and AI will update its parameters, okay? And these parameters, once updated, what will happen is that once you add in there are two stages to it, okay? First is the training stage and second one is the actual execution state. In the training stage, what you are doing is you are essentially training a black box. Inside this black box, there are multiple little knobs which you called as weights and biases, and you basically put in a lot of data into this black box, and based on the training mechanism, the parameters get updated, and now you are given a proper black box. Okay, let's use this as an example. So this becomes your black box, which is trained on a data set. Once you are putting this black box into field for execution, what you do is you basically feed it a string of text. Let's say a string of text. Let's use this as an example. Let's take a deeper dive into the big picture. Okay, you feed this and you get a string of output. Now this string of output is something which is non-deterministic. Now what do I mean by non-deterministic? Let's say if you put this same string next time into this same black box, you are not guaranteed that you will receive the similar result that you got earlier. But what is guaranteed is that it will not give you completely gibberish answers, because this is a black box trained in English language. This is the best boiled down, diluted explanation to AI. AI is a black box. You cannot actually put a breakpoint inside your AI literally to understand what decision is being taken by AI. It is complete pattern recognition, meaning isolation, and all these things that we will be learning in our course. Now let us move on to the next part. Now you must be thinking that healthcare was one of the industry which was explained in this demo undertaking, right? Where we have seen how AI is causing groundbreaking innovation across that industry. But healthcare is not the only industry which has seen the changes in AI. Matter of fact, we have various industries that have seen groundbreaking innovations. Like we have fintech and sectors in finance and banking, which is now rebranded as fintech. Financial data is a huge data set. There are lots and lots of things that can be deduced from a financial data set. The best example that I can give you is fraud detection, credit card scams. These are actual applications of AI in this particular industry. One more awesome example that I can give you is let's say if a banking company wants to hand out loans to potential debitors or creditors, so they would require lots and lots of data, whether this guy or this girl is going to repay back the loan in time, and they have a prediction model for doing that. Even if you take an example of your insurance, health insurance or term insurance, they have lots and lots of data about the people who will fall sick by the end of this year or maybe in this month or something like that. They have actual AI prediction models running on their data, which allows them to calculate what should be the premium for the next year, right? So these are real life examples. Retail and e-commerce. Now you must have seen the growth of D2C, direct to customers. If you have been following Shark Tank, all these startups that have been coming in this department, in this segment, in this vertical, it's tremendous. There is a lot of potential. Now manufacturing, how manufacturing industry gets affected. Now speaking from personal examples and personal experience, the biggest problem in manufacturing is not the actual process of manufacturing, but predicting what will be the stale inventory. That I have, let's say, produced 100 unit of a product. Out of 100 not 100 of them are going to get sold. Somewhere around 20-30 units of that produced unit is going to be unsellable. It's not going to be sold. So predicting this accurate number will allow manufacturing companies to produce more efficiently. That will also help in waste management, because companies also have compliances on how much waste they can produce. So it's not very easy for them when it comes to manufacturing. Education. Now, as you can see, education is a sector where it requires a lot of animation and 3D and all these stuff. And if you have been following the trend of Gen AI, it has become very easy for education systems and organizations to create these things. Speaking from one of a very brilliant and a personal example, one of my younger sibling who was preparing for her MBA exam was actually making use of ChatGPT to clear out her doubts. In the midnight, like 3 a.m. in the night, she was opening up ChatGPT and just clearing out her doubts. So this is the revolution that we are seeing right now in the education sector. Now let's talk about transport and logistics. Now you will be amazed, transport and logistics, like implementation of AI is very much native in transportation and logistics. If you have studied about Dijkstra's algorithm, these algorithms you can categorize them in some or the other way when you look at the whole system of the algorithm, where the exact algorithm cannot be categorized into AI, but this system that has been created around Dijkstra is actually an AI system. So your Google Maps, your other map system, your satellite and navigation system, these are all running on AI. Not just recently, but this has been done way back, like since 1950s, I would say. So this is the change that we are seeing. Now agriculture, you must be thinking, what is the implementation of AI in agriculture, right? There is a new upcoming segment called as agri-tech that actually enables farmers to make sure that their yield is to the maximum level. And they also make use of AI systems. They use weather prediction. They use the cross area, the cross section on which what plant should be, what crops should be sowed, what should be grown. These all things are actually using AI in them. Cyber security, again, when it comes to cyber security, earlier there were something called a signature and that sort of pattern detection, and they made use of lots of tools like reverse engineering tools like Ghidra to understand what is the signature of a malware. But it was only reserved to the cyber security elitists, because Ghidra is a complicated tool. It is not beginner friendly because it's primarily a reverse engineering tool. But now, because of AI, things have become much more accessible, right? So cybersecurity sees a more influx of individuals who are ready to make use of these tools and concepts because of AI. And if we are to be breaking down how cyber attacks are mitigated, how the root causes, or what is the root point from which it originated, if we have to figure out those things, AI also helps in that. In our organization, we have implemented two distinct tools that make use of AI, that helps brands to identify who has been masquerading their identity, which is also part of cyber security, but it uses AI component, right? Entertainment and media, I feel that I will be over explaining you things if I break down how entertainment and media, the segment of entertainment and media has been revolutionized by AI. Sabne, every one of us must have made our own edits using Nano Banana and latest tool which are available by this time. September, we are recording this in September, so September 2025. But yeah, entertainment and media uh, has been seeing a groundbreaking change because of AI. Finally, human resource and recruitment. So connecting right people to the right industry is actually not a very easy job, I would say. It's very difficult to do that, because the individual is not only just placed on the skill criteria. The individual also have to be vetted on whether they are culturally fit in an organization or no. And decision makers also have to be very mindful about what kind of individuals are joining their team, right? And in order to do that, AI is helping. There is a product online where employers can actually list out job descriptions, and the AI itself will publish to multiple portals, and people who are applying in these AI generated jobs would be sent a link, and in that link, AI itself takes the interview of these individuals. So the individuals are then vetted based on their skills, whether they are culturally fit or no. What is the previous salary? It also helps them decide what should be the salary of this particular individual based on the attributes that they have shown in the interview. So these are all the various industries that are seeing like groundbreaking innovations because of AI. Earlier, we required a lot of people to do the entry level things, like sifting resumes, or maybe identifying, like using actual dashboards to see what product is the most best seller happening in my particular e-commerce or something like that. But now, because of AI, it has become very easy, or it has become very accessible. The data has become available in a very democratic fashion because of AI. Cool. So now we will move forward to explaining you one simple implementation of AI. And because there are lots and lots of startups which are getting built around ready-made available technologies, or not ready-made, but cutting edge technologies like LLMs, large language models, and one of them is ChatGPT, obviously. So we have prepared two specific demos that shows how easy it is for you to also do this at your home. Although this is a pre-recorded session, I would encourage you, and I will also take pauses in between, and I would encourage you to open Google Colab and type out these things, so that you can also implement some sort of a similar program at your end. Okay, so I have this task, okay, over here, that is a text summarizer. What does a text summarizer do? I'll explain. So the task says that build a simple chat GPT OpenAI project to summarize long text into short text summaries. Okay, now let us open and see. So this may look this may look complicated if you are not aware with Python programming language, but I will try my best to explain you how these things are working over here. Okay, so the first point, the first executable in this task is that we have to install an OpenAI library. So we will now see what is this. So this is the command that I have run, and this is the output that I am seeing. This is basically Google Colab, and this is how things appear over here. So whatever you type over here, if you click this play button, the code will get executed down below, and it will show you what is the actual output of the executed code. So I'll just quickly run through it. So once the execution gets completed, you get to see this output. Now this was the first step that we completed. Okay, now let's explore what is the second step. Now in the second step, we see 3 lines of something called as import. These are basically modules that you are going to import in your code execution, and basically this code execution helps us set up our OpenAPI key securely, right? So I'll explain you what does that mean. So over here, if you see OS environ and then OpenAPI key, user data, get OpenAPI key. So basically we are setting up an environment variable in which our OpenAPI key is going to get stored for further use. Now I'll show you something that you should be very much mindful about when you are working with OpenAPI keys, because if you directly type in the key like this, something gibberish like this, people can actually use your key and run their own piece of code over there, and at the end of the day you will be getting charged a lot of money. So you should avoid doing that. So instead of that, what you can do over here is, there is something in the left hand side. When you hover on this key area, it says secrets, and over here you can add your own secret, and you can say OpenAPI key. Okay, and this should be its value. Okay, if I click on this button, I'll be able to see the value. So there is a big key over here. So this is that, and in order to use this key inside your project, you have to click on this icon, which would be initially it would be an X, but then when you click over here, it would be showing you a checkbox. Basically it tells that okay, you are allowed to use this key inside this code. So that's what it means. So in order to get keys from your left hand side, you have to do this user data get OpenAPI key. Now this is just storing this OpenAPI key in this variable, and here is a if condition. If the OpenAPI key is set, it will say. If it is not set, it will say that it is not set, there is an error, and if it is successful, it will say it has loaded successfully. So now we will execute this portion of code. So as you see over here, OpenAPI key loaded successfully. So this was the second step. Let us move on to the third and the final step, which is the juicier element, which is the actual implementation of a text summarizer code. Right. So here we have again imported OpenAI. You are exempted to not import over here, because we have already imported OpenAI, and also all these execution, although we are doing it line by line, they are part of the same program. Okay, so whatever things that you have, whatever variables that you have declared over here, or functions that you have declared over here, they can be used inside a separate code block. It's just that it has to be executed before you execute the bottommost part. So coming back to the point, the first line is about importing an OpenAPI key, OpenAPI module package. The second block that I would like to have your attention is that the summarize text function. Now summarize text function does two things. First, it makes a request to OpenAI, and second, it does error handling, right? So there is something called as try except block. Inside the try block, we are writing like basically we are using OpenAI module to send a request to ChatGPT servers, and we have explained like we have sent our message over here. So what is the role and what is the user? There is this nomenclature that we have to follow, which we will be exploring more in the actual course. But to give you an example, what basically this does is we are sending a message to ChatGPT, and specifically to ChatGPT 5 Nano, saying that you have to summarize the text, and the text is a function is a function variable. You have to pass this text over here whenever you are calling summarize text down the line. You have to pass it a text, and then the message is then grafted and then sent to the OpenAI ChatGPT system, and then it will return you a summary. And if something breaks over here, then we are shown an error, right? Now let us define a long piece of text over here. So this text can actually be anything. I'll just open up Google News. You'll get to see any news. Let's say we can take this news. So we will copy this entire text, right? And we will paste it over here. Now we have this text, okay? And over here in this long text, what we have done is we have executed this piece of code. We have put our text over here. We have then called our function over here, summarize text, and have stored it inside this variable, and we have passed this long text over here, okay? And then we have because we have called this function, this entire long text will go inside this function. It will go and chat with ChatGPT. ChatGPT will respond back with an answer, and here we are then doing a simple printf that shows us the original text and the long text. So here was the original text, okay, has formally turned down the entire text, and given below is the summary of the text. So here is a summary. So we can try multiple things. So even we can even try with more data over here, so that we get a complete picture of things. No, I think the plagiarism is not allowing us, so we'll stick to this particular example. But yeah, point being, in our next demo, we will also be extracting a lot of other information from an entire PDF. So that is also something that is viable over here, right? So yeah, long thing short, we have a long text. It gets summarized, and we get an output over here. I'll do the output again over here. So yeah, this is the original text, and this is the summarized response that we have received from ChatGPT. So this concludes our first implementation of how you can summarize raw text to a more conceivable summary. Now in our next demo, we will explore something called as PDF quantization and summarization using Google Colab and OpenAPI. So in this demo, we have to summarize a sample data from PDF. Okay, so we have PDF. The PDF can be of any given amount of length, and in this PDF, after we will extract all the text from this PDF. We will quantize it. We will basically break it down in smaller chunks, and we will then send individual chunks to ChatGPT, OpenAI, and ChatGPT will then send us the summary of these individual chunks. And then once we have the complete chunk ready with us, we will then summarize all the summaries itself. So this is going to be something exciting. So here is the thing. This is the pipeline. We are going to ingest a PDF to Colab. Then we are going to create chunk, like which is split by headings, pages. We will take a look into what should be the ideal chunk size based on the model token limits, and then we will perform something called as map reduce, which is individual chunks. We get summaries of individual chunks, and we then again summarize the summaries. So this is summarize the summaries part. So I will not explain you every point now, because in this early before this implementation we had seen this implementation. So I will just briefly explain it. So this is your dependency implementation, where you just install all the dependencies, all the pip packages. The OpenAPI key is the same thing. In the previous section that we have seen how we are using environment variables to manage our secrets, this is the same thing. The summarize text function, it is of the same nature. However, we have done one small change. We have added one more parameter over here, which says by default you have to summarize the following text. Okay, this is what is the default value for this instruction variable. If user down the line, when they call this function, if they do not provide any instruction while calling it, then it will directly fall back to this default value. Okay, so this is the same implementation as earlier. Now if you execute this, you will see that we have summarized the text. Summarize text function is now initialized. So it basically gives us a confirmation of execution. Now let us take a look into this piece of code. In this piece of code, we are doing an import of math and regular expression. Now we will be learning about regular expression in our code. We will glimpse through it. But this is the second implementation. The second import is about PyPDF, which is imported from PyPDF is the actual model, and we are importing PDF reader from here. And there is a function over here that basically extracts text from the PDFs. And we have chosen this book, from page 9 to 22. This is the actual book that we have feeded in to the data set, and we have asked everything like from page 9 to 22 to get converted into text format, and based on that we are now printing what is the length of the raw text, right? So this is the length of the raw text, which is around 28,488. So this is the amount of text which has been currently loaded inside this, correct? Now here is the quantization bit. We are going to create chunks out of this 28,488, and we are then telling that for each chunk we need 2,800 words, right? So for maximum characters that can be part of one chunk is 2,800. So this is the chunk. We are doing a list comprehension thing, which is again we are going to explain it inside the course. Then we have a for loop. that basically appends chunk. So once a chunk gets created, it is getting appended to the next chunk. So we are creating an array over here called as chunks, and basically once the chunk text is completed, like once it is executed, it returns us a list of chunks, right? So here is the function that we are going to call. Now when you're working with models like ChatGPT and OpenAI and some other models, they have something called as model context. So ChatGPT does not have infinite memory. It has a limited set of memory that you have to be mindful about, because once you extend beyond this memory limits, the LLM will start to hallucinate. It will basically start creating its own idea or its own perceptions, all these sort of things. So it will then give you garbage outputs. So 2800 is way less. It's way less. Current ChatGPT has the capability of accepting somewhere around 1 billion tokens or 100,000 tokens or something like that. I have to check with the latest ChatGPT 5 model, but it has way more context than its predecessors. So chunking, how to do proper chunking, and what should be our approach when we have to deal with bigger data set, is something which we can get answered. You'll get your answers once we are properly through the course. But this is basically a function getting called on a raw text, where we have decided that one chunk is going to be of 2800 words or characters. Then we are printing the length of the chunks, which is 11. And now over here is the actual juicier part. So what we are doing is, we are firstly doing a list comprehension. Okay, we are taking in chunks array, and for every element in that array, we are summarizing that small version of the chunk, right? So if you see over here, since we have not so this is the default, and since we have not passed any instruction, it will just summarize the text. Okay, so what is going to happen, for every chunk we are going to summarize that chunk, and we are going to store the output from ChatGPT into something called as map summaries. So I have already executed this piece of code. It took me some time to execute it, because the API rate limits and the content is too much. So I have already done that, and I have the chunks over here. So if you see, this is the summary of the chunks, of the extracted chunks. So over here we start with an array, because we are just directly printing out the array. So in the array, if you see, so the topmost array, the topmost line that you are seeing, so this is actually one summary of one single chunk. And like this, we have 11 summaries over here that goes on and on and on. So now through this we have actually created over here we have actually created the summaries of each and every chunk. But over here we are now going to create summaries of summaries, which is the map reduce element of this implementation. So over here, when we see, we are again calling something called as summarized text. Okay, in this summarized text, we have sent two parameters to the function. First is our actual text, and the second one is the instruction that we need to send to our ChatGPT. So this is an implementation. This is a simple implementation in Python that basically merges everything, like in this array. From an array, it converts things into a single set of string. So because we have multiple chunks, like summaries of multiple chunks, we cannot directly send an array to ChatGPT. We have to send a text. So in order to convert it into text, we have basically created a array to text sort of implementation over here. So it directly sends text to the function, and then it also takes in a custom instruction from us. So create an executive summary with 5 bullet points and 2-line abstract, right, based on this text. And then we have printed out the complete summary. So this is the complete summary. Everything below this complete summary of PDF, which is this output, everything below this is an output given by ChatGPT. So the things that I have highlighted is an output given by ChatGPT. So here is an abstract, because we have said that give us a 2-line abstract. So here is an abstract that it has given us, and along with that we have 5 bullet points, which concludes that we have something called as summaries of summaries. So this was a MapReduce implementation. Now I will now explain you why we have done or taken up this example in our second demo. Why not we implement something like an evaluation matrix or something like that? But earlier in the presentation, I have explained that there are often misconception about all these things are the same. Like data science is AI, is machine learning, is deep learning, is Gen AI. Over here, if you see our entire implementation, we have made use of two primary things over here. First is the data element aspect, and the second thing is Gen AI aspect, right? Since Gen AI is part of the bigger picture, we have not dived in deeper into these elements or these areas, because at the end of the day we have to have something which is of use, of practical use, rather than just theory. But in the same time, we also have to understand how it is different, how is it a different thing than the bigger data science aspect. What are the outside aspect which are not considered as an AI. So I'll show you. The ingest, like uploading a PDF to Colab, is part of something called as data wrangling, because in industry you do not get handed a PDF directly, right? You have to actually run SQL queries, then you have to run your normal linear regressions, not linear regression, but domain expertise. We have to take meetings, minute of meetings. You have to record sessions with experts. You have to take in user inputs, what they have said, and then you have to combine everything, and then you create one single structure. So over here, the PDF aspect signifies, or it basically represents the data science layer of it, of things. Then we have something called as chunks, like splitting headings, pages. Now this is called as pre-processing the data for proper output. You can also say that once I have like a complete set of data, I need to have some sort of mechanism which is converting this huge amount of data possible for my LLM, which is having a limited set of memory, right? So this is chunking. This is also, we will dive deeper into it. This is something that we will definitely have to take a look into it when we are doing our course. And finally, MapReduce is again a technique which is used in big data, right? If you have studied big data, there is something called as Hadoop, which helps in MapReduce and things like that. In distributed data architectures, you make use of this techniques, which is widely used. We have Apache Spark and Databricks, which is a leading tech company who are in this particular space. And then we have implemented a ChatGPT sort of implementation and application layer to make sure that we have a holistic understanding of how different things and different components are working together to call this thing as an AI system. So with this, I would conclude my demo session. And the takeaway that you should get from this particular demo session is that AI is a black box. It is a complete system, and in 2025 and years that are going to come after 2025, we are going to see a lot more adaptation of AI in various industries and in various sectors, and people who are applying for a job or people who want to do their own startup, they will definitely need to do an upskill in the domain of AI. So whether you come from a tech background or a non-tech background, you will definitely have to make sure that you are ready for the next iteration of AI to come. And this is just the beginning for the AI revolution. There are lots and lots more things which are in the pipe, and I hope that I would be able to explain you things in this course which are not just technical but they are also practical, and you will be finding yourself, answering all these AI related questions in your job interview or in your investors. So that's it from my side. Thank you very much. So hello and welcome. This will be a FAQ section that we will be covering up, and we have our first question, which says that what topics are getting covered in the data science course, Python, SQL, machine learning. This is a very relevant and a good question. So thank you for asking. I'll share something on my screen. So this is the basic outline of the course that we are going to carry. If you see over here, so it starts with the foundation of data science and AI, which will take us about 1 to 2 weeks to get completed. Because as I have shared in my presentation, that data science is a different it's a different undertaking, and one needs to have a separate phase or separate learning phase for that particular section. So we will be taking that as a separate phase. Later on, we will move towards data engineering and analytics, which is again part of data science, but it is much more deeper subject matter over here. So that's why it's a separate phase. Then we enter into the juicier elements, that is the machine learning part of the undertaking. Then we have deep learning foundations, where we will be explaining, what are the different deep learning mechanisms available, like CNNs, RNNs, and image classifiers, and all those things. So that would be covered over here. Then we have the generative AI and NLP. So we will be explaining the fundamentals of how ChatGPT works, right? So that would be covered under transformers and GPTs, GANs, that is generative artificial neural networks and VAs, and prompt engineering, the mechanisms of fine tuning a model. So those things would be covered. And in the later section, we will also understand how to actually deliver a AI product that is ready, for the market, for the end user to use. So we will be learning about how to create APIs in Django, how to deploy them on VPS like AWS or DigitalOcean. And finally, we will also do a section, a phase where we are talking more about how you should be positioning yourself for your career endeavors, AI agent for real world problem. Now this is going to be a capstone project. This is going to be a project, right? Then we will show you how to properly follow hygiene practice for GitHub, and what should be your documentations, all these things. Then we have something called as resumes and LinkedIn optimization. Then we are going to do some home assignments. And finally, we will be conducting a session with you where we can explain you what is the current industry standard when it comes to vetting out individuals who are ready for AI. So that's the answer to your first question. So I hope that answered your first question. Matter of fact, we have a lot of questions coming to our way I will pick them up and give selective answers to some of your questions. So, are we going to use tools like Python, R, TensorFlow, Tableau, Power BI? So, primarily, yes, we will be using Python, but for others, I think this course won't be able to cover all those things. We will be using TensorFlows. We will be using other tools like TensorFlow libraries and NumPy and all these libraries which are part of Python ecosystem. So we will be using that. For Tableau and Power BI, these are all data visualization tools. So we will refrain from that because then it would be something that will go out of scope. So yeah, that I hope that answers your question. So the next question is: do trainers have real-time industry experience? So yes, I will be your primary trainer. My name is Ruchit. I have more than 10 years of experience in the industry. I am a CEO, CTO, and founder of a company that provides tech solutions to Indian Navy. We also provide tech solutions to SaaS. We have worked with fintech. We have worked with listed companies who are listed in the stock market. So yes, your trainer does have real-time industry experience. What is the next question? Do you provide guidance on building a portfolio / GitHub profile? Absolutely. I think in our last phase, I will be personally giving you pointers on how to actually build a portfolio or a profile or a GitHub profile, so that when you send it across to an employer, you will definitely stand out in front of your competitors. So that's something that we are covering in this one. What else do we have? Are tools available for free or do I need to purchase? So most of the tools are actually available for free for the most part of it. We will be using Google Colab, we will be using VS Code, we will be using Python. So all these things are free of cost, but the ChatGPT subscription or the ChatGPT license APIs are something that are which is paid and it is per use. But I don't feel that that would be something of a challenge, because ChatGPT pricings are way much generous to people who are just starting out, and whatever that we are going to learn will be not just using one particular third party or LLM provider, but we will be learning a lot of other things, right? So you are definitely actually encouraged to not just use ChatGPT in your implementations. I would encourage you to try out Claude, Gemini, Perplexity, for that matter of fact. Does the course cover advanced topic like deep learning, NLP, or generative AI? Absolutely. In our undertaking, we are going to cover advanced topics like deep learning, NLP, and generative AI. So I hope that answers your question. Can I specialize in areas like computer vision, business analytics, or AI? I would say this course will give you complete freedom and flexibility to enter into any of the verticals that you have mentioned over here, like computer vision, business analytics, fraud detection, or any other thing like vision, facial recognition, or Gen AI in for that matter of fact. Our idea is that we want to create a course that is 90% tech and 10% influenced by simplicity of explaining, right? We do not want to overwhelm you, but we also do not want to underwhelm you in terms of technology. And in order to achieve that, we will be making use of practical examples, practical implementations, and case studies. And we also will be having a sort of open forum where participants can ask direct questions about some specialized vertical of AI, and I would be more than happy to guide them in a separate session in a text format. So I hope that answers your question. So one question is, are the project based on real industry problems? Yes. As I've said earlier, our goal is to make sure that all the participants, when they complete that course, are going to be ready with, uh, are going to be ready to solve industry problems. So, in order to do that, we are going to hand out the projects which are actually, part of the industry, which actual, they are real industry problems. So companies give live project during trainings. So giving out live project is something which is subjective. It completely depends on how the participant is grasping the concepts. So that's the thing. But definitely, if we see people who are excelling in their basic assignments, then we will give them actual industry projects. So some questions are related to why students must pursue this course and not any other competitors. I would say the answer is on two planes. Firstly, the course itself is designed keeping practicality in mind. It's not designed just to make you apt with theory knowledge, or just making you answer questions which are heavily on the theoretical end. They have to do they have to do mostly with what actual problems are being faced in the industry. So the course actually covers all these things, and the topics that we have selected will help you advance in your career, and it will make you capable enough to get landed into a profession, um, which will actually help you exercise all the things that you have learned throughout this course. And the second thing is coming from the trainer itself, from my experience, because I have not just trained organizations, but I have also had experience training with academic students. The course actually will will mostly delve into me making you understand concepts, and not just the theory aspect of it. So there will be more deep diving sessions into what we are going to explain. Like, let's say when we are talking about OOPS, like object oriented programming structure or object oriented programming, we will actually explain you what was the reason of introducing object oriented methodology in programming. What was the earlier implementation? What was the earlier norm in the programming world? Earlier it was all Python, the C way of doing things, like executing in a functional way. But then we had to move out from that way, and we have to enter into the world of object oriented programming. So we will actually understand everything about object oriented programming and what was the need of object oriented programming. In the same way, if you see in the generative AI section, we have something called as transformers and GPT, general purpose transformers. So if you have read the paper, Attention is All You Need by Google, it is the very fundamental block of modern days large language models and modern day Gen AI platforms. So yeah, we will be taking a dive into all these topics in our sessions. And because I am someone who has been exposed to the teaching world as well as in the practical world, I feel that I am qualified enough, and I will be able to answer questions in a way where you will have a core conceptual idea about how things work, rather than what things are, what is the right answer to the to the question that has been asked by the interview. So that's the thing that you can expect from this course. So I think we can conclude the FAQ section over here. Thank you for asking all the wonderful questions. I hope you have found value in my answers. For any other further questions, I would request you to send us a message or drop us an email, and we would be happy to answer all your questions. With this, we conclude. Thank you so much.